What did the Lord promise Abram? Did he trust God? How many descendants would Abram have? Did God intend to bless the whole world through a descendant of Abram, Jesus? Did God visit Abram in a vision? What was his request of God? After these things, Yahweh's word came to Abram in a vision, saying, "Don't be afraid, Abram. I'm your shield, your exceedingly great reward." Abram said, "Lord Yahweh, what will you give me, since I go childless, and he who will inherit my estate is Eliezer of Damascus?" Abram said, "Behold, you've given no children to me, and behold, one born in my house is my heir." What was the Lord's answer? Did Abram trust God? Did he have a high moral character? The Lord's word came immediately to him. "This man will not be your heir. Your heir will definitely be your very own biological child." Then he brought Abram outside and said, "Look up at the sky and count the stars. If you think you can count them." He continued, "This is how many children you'll have." Abram trusted the Lord, and the Lord recognized Abram's high moral character. How did God ask Abram to prepare before giving him an answer? Should we also spend time in worship while waiting on an answer? The Lord said to Abram, "I brought you here from Ur in Chaldea, and I gave you this land." Abram asked, "Lord God, how can I know the land will be mine?" Then the Lord told him, "Bring me a 3-year-old cow, a 3-year-old female goat, a 3-year-old ram, a dove, and a young pigeon." Abram obeyed the Lord. Then he cut the animals in half and laid the 2 halves of each animal opposite each other on the ground. But he didn't cut the doves and pigeons in half. And when birds came down to eat the animals, Abram chased them away. How did God reveal his answer to Abram? Did he speak to Abram in his sleep? As the sun was about to set, a deep sleep fell on Abram. Horror and great darkness came over him. Adonai, that is the Lord, or Yahweh, said to Abram, "Know this for certain, your descendants will be foreigners in a land that's not theirs. Then they'll be slaves and held in oppression there 400 years. But I'll also judge that nation, the one that makes them slaves. Afterwards they'll leave with many possessions. As for you, you'll join your ancestors in peace and be buried at a good old age. Only in the 4th generation will your descendants come back here, because only then will the Amori or Amorites be ripe for punishment." How did the promised land extend? Is that from the Nile to the Euphrates? Perhaps the extent of David and Solomon's reigns? Will that again be Israel's land when Christ returns? When the sun had gone down and it was dark, behold, a smoking firepot and a flaming torch passed between these pieces. On that day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, "To your offspring I give this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates, the land of the Kenites, the Kenizzites, the Cadmonites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Rephaim, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Girgashites, and the Jebusites." Did Abraham also become our father to those who have the same faith that he had? This is why the promise is by faith, so that it may be according to grace, to guarantee it to all the descendants, not only to those who are of the law, but also to those who are of Abraham's faith. He's the father of us all in God's sight. As it's written, "I've made you the father of many nations." He believed in God, who gives life to the dead and calls things into existence that don't exist. Are we who are of that same faith then spiritual children of Abraham, his real descendants? You see then that those who have faith are Abraham's real descendants. what did the Lord promise Abram? Did he trust God? How many descendants would Abram have? Did God intend to bless the whole world through a descendant of Abram, Jesus? You decide.